All right, quick response, quick response, quick response. Rude boy, you should always be saving. Even when I was an apprentice, I was still saving. Even when I was on a measly £40 a day. Even when I was on a measly £800 a month, I was still saving. Obviously, when I graduated, obviously, when I became a fully qualified electrician and they put me on 1,800 a month, obviously I was saving more. But even when I was an apprentice, I was saving. You should always be in saving mode. But don't get it twisted though. There's a difference between saving because you want to invest in something long term, which you should be, and just saving because you're in a scarcity mindset. Because don't get it twisted. You're not going to save your way to a million. Yeah, you're not going to save your way to become a millionaire. We don't live for 2,000 years. So at some point, you're going to have to save. You're going to have to be frugal. You're going to have to make sacrifice. You're going to have to not be a sheep. You're going to not have to, have the FOMO mindset. And you're going to have to save so that you can invest in something that's going to bring you back a return. So you're not going to be saving for the rest of your life. Obviously, always, be sensible and put away money and that. But don't get twisted, you're not going to be able to save your way to become a millionaire. You need to save your wages so that you can invest in something that's going to bring you back a return, and that's how you become a millionaire. Obviously, you're not going to become a millionaire off that one investment. I mean, you possibly could, but more than likely you're not. But you're going to have multiple investments to become a millionaire. Or forget about even being a millionaire. Why do you need to have that status? Why do you need to achieve that status of being a millionaire? But just be financially free. Financially free means, you got multiple streams of income coming in, so you don't have to work no more. You don't have to get up and, adhere to your boss's commands. You become your own boss. So my advice to young people watching this right now, always be in the saving mode. Obviously, you can't save forever, but when you're earning a decent salary, definitely that is the time to save. And when you're earning a decent salary, that is the time to be working overtime. That is the time to be working on the weekends. As you lot know already, watching me, man's done bare overtime. I've had times where I'm ringing my boss, yo, where's the work for Saturday? Yeah, I'm phoning him on a Friday night, well, 4:30 p.m. Where's the work for Saturday? I need him to send it to me within 30 minutes because they're going home at 5 o'clock. If they go home at 5 o'clock and they don't send me Saturday's work, I have no work to do because they're not in on Saturday to send me the work. I remember there was times, where I used to go to the office and sit in there and wait for them to send me the work. Wouldn't leave that office until they send me the work. Yeah, you damn right. Because tomorrow they're not in, and if they're not in, then I can't work and earn £500 tomorrow. So you damn right, I did plonk my ass on that desk and just sit down and wait for them to send me that work. This is why I'm sitting on 6 properties. I'm actually in, my most recent purchase, which is my 6th property. So, yeah, man, obviously, you got to save so that you can invest in something that's going to bring you back a return. But there is a fine line between just being a saver and just saving because you're on a scarcity mindset. A bit like a squirrel just hoarding nuts and that. Like, yeah, there's people right now, that have got 100 grand in their account, but they're never going to invest the money because they're afraid. At some point, you got to invest the money. Don't be these people that are hoarding money. Please believe there are people right now, they don't even have like some mad high paying jobs. Like, they're not on 300 grand a year. They're on maybe 50, 60 grand a year, but they've lived at their parents' house for a long time and they've saved up 80, 90, 100 grand. And they're just afraid to invest the money. Invest the blood clot money, man. I know a man. Years and years and years ago, he told me he had 60 grand. Now, more than likely, he's probably sitting on 200 grand because he's just afraid to invest his money. Well, you don't want to have your money sitting in the bank, gathering dust. If you think about it this way, let's say you took 30 grand and bought a buy-to-let property. You know this buy-to-let property that you bought for 30 grand, In 25 years' time, when your product ends and you have to sell the property and that, this property that you put down a 30 grand deposit, let's say the property is worth only 120 grand, The property is worth 120 grand today. In 25 years' time, that property is going to be worth 300 grand, You've put down 30 grand for this 120 grand today. If you left that same 30 grand in your bank account, in 20 years it's not going to be worth 300 grand. Whereas if you took 30 grand, put down a 25% deposit on a 120 grand property, when you sell that property in 25 years time when it's worth 300, obviously you have to pay the bank back there a bit. Let's say you even left with 150. Yo, that 30 grand that you've left in your bank account is never going to be worth 150,000 in 25 years. I guarantee, I promise you. Me, in 25 years time, my property portfolio, let's say I sold all of my properties, they're probably worth about 2.5 mil. You think, yeah, the 120 grand that I've been putting into my properties over the years, you think that 120 grand in 25 years time would amount to 2.5 mil? No way. No way. I wonder how long it would take for 25 grand to, 120 grand to sit in the bank for it to be worth 2.5 mil. Probably 200 years. Well, unfortunately, we ain't the Greenland sharks out here. We don't live for 200 to 500 years, yeah? You got a short space of time. Yeah, you need to work as hard as you can and make smart investments. Anyway, man, that's it, man. It's supposed to be a quick response. 6 minutes and 16 seconds.